comic books, movies, TV, and more. Nerds are everywhere. It's time to assemble! It's Nerds United.
Hello and welcome back. We have missed you. I have missed you, Mike.
All right. Excellent.
Okay. Good to know that those feelings are reciprocated 100%.
Yes, absolutely. Of course.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Nerds United. Truth be told, we're getting a much later start than anticipated, and Mike has house guests. So I don't know how long this episode's going to go. We'll do the very best we can, and we're back, at least for the time being, on YouTube. We've done a couple of creator conversations. I have here these midweek drops. But Mike, the people on YouTube will be happy to see your face again.
I don't know about that. I definitely enjoyed the creators you had on, Joe or Joey. I don't know what he goes by. Dodd.
I call him Joe, but it was weird to see him as Joey on there, so I went
right.
With
that's what I was thinking. And I forget, Justin Holmes, right?
Holman.
I was close.
That's cool.
I was thinking of a completely different name too, but they were cool. And then you had on the guy from Full Tilt,
Jason Copeland,
which again should be Copland the way it's spelled. But
I think if he spelled it differently, like if he spelled it the way it sounds,
yes,
he might be related to a WWE Hall of Famer, Adam Edge Copeland.
Yes, so who's still wrestling now?
Still. Which is weird. 25 years. I just saw, like, right now they're celebrating 25 years of Edge. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But we're not a wrestling podcast. We could.
No,
be,
we're not.
Yeah.
No, that's another show right here on the Jittery Monkey Podcast Network. I wanted to jump in and say, hey, I'm Greg Mahochko, and this guy over here is none other than the co-host of the year, Mike Luther. And Mike, it really is good to see you, buddy.
Same.
We didn't get a chance to record last week because you went out and had an awesome outing with your nephews, and I was at home. But then the week before, I was out of town.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So it really has been a few weeks since we got together. So we've got a lot to catch up on, and we'll do it as quickly as we can.
Yes.
Before we're going to talk about some things we've read in the downtime. But I feel like let's just go ahead and jump right into it, since I'm pretty sure, doing my math here, maybe not. I think we've recorded since I saw Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, but we have not recorded since you've seen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Yes. So what did you think, Mike?
And I just saw that last night. I think what was it last night? Wednesday night, I think. Wednesday night, yeah. Oh, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was one of the best superhero movies I've seen so far. It was especially this year. The end can't really spoil the ending. I knew the ending was coming. I'll put it that way, but I didn't remember that the ending was coming until there was maybe 10 minutes left.
Is that the ending that I talked about? Where yeah.
And I had read about it and everything. It's hard not to have things spoiled. But no, I was thinking about it and I was like, this is going to be, and actually I think it is some people's Miles Morales, even if there's going to be a live action, which I hope there's a live action eventually. Like as I was watching those, I thought to myself, I could really see a live action Miles Morales movie. I want to see a live action Spider-Gwen movie. Even Spider-Man 2099. That's what I was like.
Miguel O'Hara, I believe?
Yes. Yeah. I believe so. Well, by the way, voiced by your favorite actor.
I did see that it was Oscar Isaacs, which means that it could have been better.
That's the best. It honestly is the best I've seen so far. I really, in fact, before this, we were watching, we're going to rewatch Into the Spider-Verse downstairs. So, or at least I was watching Into the Spider-Verse. Nolan was watching Into the Spider-Verse. Eddie was sitting there on his Switch. So, whatever helps,
Hey, kids.
Oh, and we made Oreo milkshakes too.
Nice.
Yes,
We had Pizza Hut.
We had Casey's Pizza.
Crazy. And I'll tell you what, we don't do Pizza Hut too often.
Right.
As you know, the Pizza Hut that is closest to us and was very close to where you used to live is hot garbage.
Okay, understandable.
We have to do carry out from the Pizza Hut that's all the way across town. But we did it, picked it up and brought it home. And the breadsticks are fire, as the kids would say.
Good.
Everybody loved the breadsticks. So,
right. Sorry. Back to I know we kind of got sidetracked there. Back to Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
You one thing I got to tell my nephews this too. Do you know when the next one comes out?
I know when it was supposed to come out.
Yeah, as of course, if there's not delays and everything, but it's March. I want to say 29th, 2024. So go ahead.
I was going to say, but you sent me a link today saying that due to production issues, basically, like there's no way we can meet that deadline.
Yeah. But I don't. Hopefully, it's not that far past it because like when we left the theater, of course, we're like, okay, when's the next one? And we were thinking like, oh, it's going to be 3 years or whatever. And I was like, you know, honestly, guys, 3 years isn't that long, really, as far as movies go. You know, like you easily wait 3 years between movies, the sequels. You know,
just put it in perspective. 3 years from now, Eddie's going to be driving.
Will he be?
I don't know. I was guessing.
No, Dean will be driving. I think.
Fine.
I think.
Sorry, I don't know your nephew's names and ages like I should.
I don't know their ages. I want to guess Eddie's 11.
That reminds me, I got to get a birthday card in the mail tomorrow.
Oh, whose birthday?
My best friend's wife.
Okay, excellent.
So, which is funny. I just saw him a couple weeks ago. Forgot his birthday on June 1st. So,
shame.
Didn't even realize it till we were pulling up in their driveway.
Oh.
Like a week later. So, yeah, my wife had the same thought when the movie ended very abruptly, and it says to be continued March 2024. You know, you have a better idea of the specific date. She's like, that's some crap. I was like, yeah, honey, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but still great movie. I mean, I don't get look. Sony can do great animated Spider-Man movies, but. You know,
no, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
That's not the only movie you saw in the time off, Mike.
Yes, agreed.
You're not allowed to spoil because I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
But you went and saw
The Flash.
The Flash.
Yes, I definitely did. It's good. It is not the greatest superhero movie like James Gunn was trying to say, or that apparently Tom Cruise had tweeted out allegedly. It was fine. It wasn't bad at all. It was just okay. They had the Sasha Calais, I'm going to pronounce it like that, the girl that played Supergirl. There was, without spoiling anything, there was like, I know, a 15-minute thing that I think they could have they could have used that and it made a Supergirl movie out of this portion. Because she was really, really, really good. Some of the CG was like, man. Now it didn't take me out of the movie necessarily. And Andy Muschietti, the director, said it was supposed to be that way, which people are like, okay, no, that doesn't make any sense. Like he was saying, like, it's because you're seeing it through the Flash's eyes or whatever. It's supposed to be warped and everything, but I don't know. There was one, like the way they portrayed his speed in like the very beginning was really good, I thought. And this isn't one of the things that was in the trailers, but obviously you have two different versions of Barry, and one is fine, and the other one is one of the most annoying characters ever. Like, that for me and you, obviously, if I were to be like, hey, what's the most annoying sound of the world? You would know that you would have a sound in your head from
right.
now that sound, if I'm going to see if I can recreate it, it's going to be. Yeah, it was that annoying. But yeah, it was fine overall. Yeah. Like I said, I know that my end of the year review or whatever is going to be off because I had Spider. I know it's not Spider. I had the Flash as my most anticipated. I know that.
Right.
And right now, I know probably at least two other, like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Oh, that's what I was thinking too. They James Gunn had said that this is going to be the greatest superhero movie, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was better.
Okay.
So,
well, I have not yet had the chance. I thought I might be able to sneak away today. Didn't quite happen. So apologies to everybody that I let down, the masses, because I know I did. But I'll get there eventually. That's my promise to you, Mike.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, because I want to know what you think, because you said you liked Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 better than Across the Spider-Verse.
It was like 1A, 1B.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's understandable. Yeah.
And the reason being is I have more emotional attachment to the Guardians characters.
Yeah.
Like I've been on more, like I understand Miles Morales like story arc.
Right.
Into the Spider-Verse. And obviously more, in Across the Spider-Verse, but like those movies didn't make me feel like the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 did.
That's fair.
And that carried over because you get so much depth and character work with Rocket in Volume 3. So, like it wasn't perfect. It wasn't the strongest of the three, but I really did enjoy GOTG3.
That's right. Got give the 3.
Got give 3.
Yep.
So you've watched movies.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched a little bit of TV.
What have you watched on TV?
Well, I found a new show through like the reels on Facebook.
Okay.
And one of the reels, like you get into the comments and like people, it's one of those, ooh, here's a clip, but it doesn't tell you anything about the show.
Yeah.
And so like the comments, I went to the comments and it's a show that is or was on CW. And it's basically, it's a crime procedural called Deception.
Okay.
And what it is there's in the first episode, there's a magician who very like at the beginning of the show he's in Vegas and he does this big trick and he's world famous illusionist, does this big trick and like he's not in Vegas anymore, he's in New York.
Oh no.
And after the show, like picks up a girl or a girl picks him up and then there's a car wreck and then she's dead on the street, bloodied up, and he's like, whoa, but it's not her, it's a different woman. And it's not him, it's his twin brother. So his brother gets arrested for like manslaughter, something
right.
like that. And the one woman that picked him up disappears, and it's all a big. So it's some fun because he uses basically illusion tricks to help the FBI, solve cases. And then the bigger picture is trying to find the woman who framed his brother and get him out of jail type of thing. So
it sounds good, but it also sounds like that would be like what an SNL skit would be. Like, we're going to combine CSI with magic.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
It's free on the CW app.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, that was the show that we were watching before we started recording tonight.
Nice.
And another show that Secret Invasion.
Okay, I was going to ask you, did you see the first episode?
I did.
Okay, same.
And it was fine.
Yeah.
Big surprise ending that I wasn't prepared for.
Right.
From the standpoint of I don't know, that's not one of the characters that I expected the MCU to lose.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say. Like people who, people who want to know can certainly find out. And then I'm trying to find, here we go. Trying to find a good picture to share with the good people. Here we go. Perfect. All right. Hang on to your lug nuts. It's time for an overhaul. This is a show that I had kind of earmarked on Hulu for a long time, but never actually watched. And then you said, "Hey, have you ever heard of this show?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "I've got it on the watch list, but I've not started." You're like, "You should. It's very," I believe you said, bingeable.
Probably.
And you're not wrong. It's very enjoyable. And the second season dropped in its entirety a day or two back. And for the people watching this on YouTube, it is The Bear. Now,
yes.
People are going to look at that and say, none of that makes any sense, Greg. There's no bears. It is about a chef, a top-notch chef, who basically, and I was trying to explain this to someone else earlier this week, who gets called back home to Chicago after his brother passes away to essentially take over like the little beef sandwich diner type of place. But he's he's a 5-star Michelin chef, and he's kind of working. So it's a lot about that kitchen dynamic. I think at one point I looked on there and I thought I said that it was a comedy, and I was watching like, this is not a comedy.
No,
It's still a very enjoyable show. It's just not a comedy. So I realistically breezed through the first season. I'm a couple episodes into season 2 of The Bear on Hulu. It's a FX presentation. Very, very enjoyable.
Yeah, I think I'm on episode 5 right now of the second season.
Okay.
I really liked the first season, and yeah, it's like I told you, it's very bingeable. Only thing I didn't like about it, this is if you haven't seen the season 1 yet, you should, I don't fast forward or whatever, close your ears. The only thing I didn't like about season 1 ending was them just finding the money. I thought that was too just like, really, like you couldn't have had it to where the system works all of a sudden, because they were trying to do like a to-go system and it had messed up. I would have much rather all of a sudden, they figure out, oh, there's a glitch in it, or hey, we figured out how to do it, because then it's them working hard,
overcoming,
overcoming, rather than just like, oh, here's a lottery ticket on the ground. Oh, now we have no troubles. It's like, that's the only thing I didn't like. Oh, and the guy that plays Marcus, he was completely in the wrong. Mark,
was he the baker, like the cake guy?
Yes, the cake guy. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they're everything's hectic in that kitchen, and it's got to like go, and he's sitting there like, oh, hold on, I'm gonna stir my cake real quick, and let me go over here. No, you should have fired him.
No, I with the arc.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad it had the resolution that it did, but yeah, in that first season, I really thought that Bear should have fired Tina. Like she was just completely like sabotaging the entire operation. And I thought she should have been 86th. Now, a couple episodes into season 2, and not only is she still there, her attitude and mindset has completely flipped, and she's a real asset to the restaurant. So if you're like, guys, there's not a single cape on that show. No, but there's some aprons. Sorry, that was bad.
You tried.
But we really enjoyed The Bear, and as far as the picks and recommendations, look, if you listen to us about other things, you'll probably enjoy The Bear too. So
yeah, agreed.
I tell you what, I've been largely because of the Talkville podcast. I started going and watching Smallville again.
Okay.
Now it got to the point where I was only a couple episodes into Smallville, while like Talkville's like into the first season, into the second season, and then I not only caught up, I'm on season 4 of Smallville right now, and like on Talkville, I'm towards the end of season 2. So I forget how much I enjoyed that show. However, I'll say this, with the benefit of the Talkville podcast and that Lex Luthor, Michael Rosenbaum perspective, I kind of look at Clark in a new light because he like comes busting into the mansion all the time and in very like accusatory tones. I'm like, it's not your house.
Yeah.
You're a high school kid. Let's pump the brakes on being a dick.
I saw a clip when they were talking about when he took red kryptonite and he takes off in the motorcycle, and they showed the video too, and like you can clearly see that he's going really slow.
It's also not him; it's a stuntman.
Well, yeah, of course, I figured that, but like you can see the yellow lines, and you could see how slowly he's going by him. Yeah, and that's the badass Clark Kent.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've watched that's really jumped out. Since HBO Max is no longer and it's now Max, and they have Food Network and Animal Planet and Discovery, things like that. My oldest and I, in the mornings, we've gone back and we've been watching Unwrapped.
Okay,
you remember Unwrapped?
Not at all.
On Food Network. You remember Double Dare and like
yes
on Nickelodeon? Well, Mark Summers was the host of that. Mark Summers hosted Unwrapped. And basically, it was like a little behind the scenes of we'll tell you how candy bars are made, or cereal, or chips, or ice cream, or of course, all times cookies. We were watching the episode on cookies, and they had a little segment in there about cookie jars.
Mm-hmm.
Had to remember what exactly they're called, and they had a camera crew come to find out like. We were at the annual cookie jar convention and auction in Belleville, Illinois. Now, granted, this was every bit of 20 years ago.
Oh, true. Yeah.
But they had, the thousands of cookie jars from common to rare. And I'm watching this, and they talk to the organizer. Now, the only reason I'm saying this is because I have a cookie jar in my cabinet that has been on TV.
Oh.
It's a Marvin the Martian cookie jar where the jar itself is like Earth and the lid is Marvin in his flying saucer.
Oh, okay.
Now, I acquired this a couple of years ago. You know what I do. I work in the insurance field, and I went to meet with a new widow, to do the paperwork because her husband had passed away. And her husband was the cookie jar guy. And she had, it's just cookie jars all over the place. And we just got talking about that. And she said, oh, yeah, he used to, have these shows all the time there at the fairgrounds. And she never told me that Food Network had ever come out.
Right.
I said, well, these are really remarkable. And she said, well, which one do you like? I was like, I don't know. I said, this Marvin the Martian one come out. She's like, here, you can have it. I was like, no, I can't. She's like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do with all these. Super nice lady, older. She's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with all these. Please, you'll be helping me out by taking one with you. I said, okay, well, thank you so much. And so as Garrett and I are watching Unwrapped, and I see it, I said, buddy, time out. Hold on, let's rewind. And I told him that. He's like, whoa, he thought that was the coolest thing. Okay. I said, what? I said, man, what can I give you for this? And she says, not a thing. She said, just be as generous with your time with other people as you have been with me. I said, I'll do my best. So like to think I made her proud. Drive by her street. Sometimes I drove by tonight. I said, I ought to, make a point to pop in there sometime and just visit with her for a few minutes. So, yeah. So my business is all about relation with people, and that's a fun little story to tell. So
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we talked a little bit about what we've read. I'm sorry, about what we've watched. Mm-hmm. Let's turn the page, literally, and talk about what we have read. Mike, I'll let you go first.
So one of the first ones I read was Becoming Swamp Thing. It's one I had picked up at Heroic Adventures in Edwardsville or Glen Carbon. They're basically the same place to me. But this is when a new guy, Levi Kamei, becomes the Swamp Thing, written by Ram V, who's one of my favorite writers. I say that, but then I always blank out and I can't remember what other stuff I've read from him. But I know I've read other stuff from him. A Justice League Dark, I believe. Actually, it was a good one. There wasn't that much change between like this other Swamp Thing I had read, except this guy's Indian, and that was about it. I mean, he still has like the same powers and everything. There wasn't, granted, I only read one of them, so maybe if I read more, it there's a differentiation between it, or maybe there doesn't have to be. Who knows?
Do you feel like the character of Swamp Thing, because he can do anything plant related, do you think that he's a little like limited? But I mean, like he could do everything, and also like that's all he could do. Like he can't fly, he can't,
No, but he can do a lot. I mean, if you think what they call it, the green, he has his own world he goes into. And in fact, they had near the end of this, there was like, how they do like a separate story or, show you something different as well. There's apparently a whole Swamp Thing family as well that I don't know if he created them or what happens, but yeah.
Did you ever end up watching the finales of Titans?
No.
So in that, Beast Boy, I think he goes into the green, might be it's the color. Okay. But that's where he, like really learned how to hone his powers. He, I think, teleported from one part of the world to another because of the green. So I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah. No, Swamp Thing is pretty powerful.
True. Yeah. I mean, he's practically godlike.
Yeah. Yeah. So I read that one, and then
lowercase g.
Either one. I read that one, and then the other one I read is one that you had given me, or let me borrow, which is Locke Key, The Golden Age, which I was telling you, I think I like this one better than the original Locke Key, which you've talked about it before on here. This is kind of like a prequel to Locke and Key, but this one involves Etrigan and the Sandman and some other people that you might know from the Sandman.
Which this is, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember, not Image, but Dark Horse? Top Cow, Boom Studios?
IDW.
I mean, just the fact that they were able to work out those partnerships, because DC owns Sandman and Etrigan, of course. Yeah, it's just, it's a period piece. And for whatever reason, like, look, going into the future is always, I mean, I don't know. I think stories told in the past are sometimes more interesting than stories told in the future, because they have, I think, maybe more defined parameters, which is why I really enjoyed Rough Riders, because it's like, these are real people, and like they have to, that you can't have. Maybe that was one of my issues with Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer, is like, especially in the movie, like he's sitting there in 2013 in a bar somewhere, and he's got fangs now because he got saved by his buddy. It's like, come on. It'd have been more interesting if he'd have just been, if history would have followed natural course, like he killed all the vampires and then John Wilkes Booth,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's how it ends. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the only two I've been reading. I know you had
but you did acquire another one, did you not?
Oh, yeah, I did. I got that one a while back, the Grimm issue 10, which I still haven't read yet. But it's going to take me like 10 seconds to read, and I mean that in a good way. That's how, like, it's quick.
It's a page turner. It is a page turner. Well, in the order of things that I read, I have a couple on this list that, one I did complete and one that I've started. Those are two that I have on loan from you, but one that I actually purchased last time I was in Twilight Comics, Swansea, Illinois, was The Amazing Spider-Man Spider-Verse. Now, this is not a spoiler. This story's, I don't know, 10, 12 years old, something like that. Or 20, I don't know, whatever. It's not a brand new, like, just hit shelves yesterday. This is not the same Spider-Verse that we have at the theater right now. Although, as you can see here, those who are looking, a lot of the same faces. You have Miles Morales, you have Spider Ham, you have Ghost Spider or Gwen Stacy, you have Spider Punk, you have, I don't think, do they have Superior Spider Man in the movie? I can't remember. Otto Octavius?
They have a ton of them, so they might
Yeah.
probably
Somewhere in there. And then, but they do have in Spider-Man the book, or Spider-Verse the book, the 616 version of Peter Parker's not dead. So in fact, he's considered like the leader of them all, like the best of them all, something like that. So but they are going against a family that is out to destroy all the spiders, and in destroying them become like more immortal than they already are. So really enjoyed that. Was not a fast read per se, was a good read, and I went through it, but it was thorough. Like I just really took my time and savored it. And then another one that I read, and I don't know, it's this next one here. It was a fine book, but I wouldn't put it as like in my favorites for this character. But it was Batman Damned.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. And I remember wanting to get that one because of Bermejo, the Lee Bermejo, I believe it is, because I really liked his art. But
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did he do the Batman Noel?
Yes.
And I know Brian Azzarello wrote the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Bermejo did the art as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, beautiful book.
Mm-hmm.
I had issues with like the tampering with like the Thomas and Martha Wayne dynamic.
Yeah.
And I felt like the way the book was laid out sometimes was hard to follow.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I mean, like I'm used to like traditional frames and like not necessarily dialogue boxes, but like boxes that set the scene rather than like free floating words. So again, it's a fine book.
Mm-hmm.
I just wouldn't put it in my favorite Batman stories.
Same.
And then the one that I have started, I think I'm through the Christmas stories now, or the holiday stories, is John Constantine Hellblazer Regeneration.
Yes,
Hellblazer. Which I believe this predates New 52.
I think so. Yeah. I'm almost positive.
This is for those of you who are watching this. It's not. I mean, it's like, look, there are bigger books, yes, but it's not. It's nothing to sniff at. Let's see. Beginning of the book's where I'm going to find the information I'm after.
You might. Who knows?
Originally published in single magazine form in Hellblazer 250 to 260 and Hellblazer Special from 0809. So yeah, predates New 52. There are almost 400 pages in this bad boy, Mike.
I remember thinking that because when I started reading it, I was like, oh, this is going to take me a while. But for me, it didn't take too long, just simply because I didn't want to put it down. I really like Help. I really like Constantine.
I feel like I've gotten through like I said, those like kind of holiday short stories. Mm-hmm. So I think pretty soon I'll be getting into the meat, of it, mate.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, shall we bounce to some news? I mean, we've got a couple weeks worth of news to get caught up on.
Yeah, we can fly. I mean, some of it we can fly through because
I agree.
If news is more than a week old, people don't really care.
True.
If news is more than a day old, people don't really care.
That's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do have to go back. Gosh, shameful how far back we have to go for some of this stuff. That just shows how long it's been since we got together. And again, Mike, I've missed you so much. At the beginning of June, just 3 weeks ago, a former NFL linebacker offered $500,000 for a 1-of-1 print from Magic the Gathering's new Lord of the Rings line, and it's the One Ring. It's a 1-of-1 card. Now, I got some inside scoop on this. Maybe it's inside. It's new to me. I was at Twilight. Last time I was at Twilight Comics, Swansea, Illinois, I asked Tim. I said, Tim, is that like the only One Ring card that they're making? He's like, no. He's like, they'll have non-numbered ones that you can, have and play. And I said, but there's only going to be this one of this particular art, and it's going to be the one of one. I said, oh, okay. Well, at the beginning of June, the price on this that the former linebacker was offering was $500,000. I've seen now where like someone in Spain has offered $2 million. $2 million for a card. I was like, I need to find that card, Mike.
I'm guessing that card's probably pretty rare.
Well, it's one of one.
Yeah, and I don't have any Pokemon cards. It was Pokemon or Magic the Gathering?
Magic the Gathering.
Oh, but if you found a Pokemon one, that would be even rarer because they didn't even make it.
Right. I'll just, Garrett likes Pokemon cards, so I'll just be like, buddy, just take a little piece of paper and, trace around like the size of one of your cards, draw a circle in there for the One Ring, put 001 of 001, and see what we get for it.
I guess when people have a lot of money, they can do stuff like that.
I'm that's well out of my price range. Well,
yes.
Not the pack of cards is not out of my price range. Paying an obscene amount for one card is out of my price range.
Yeah, I have a feeling they know what pack it's into.
Like, you mean the Magic people?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And look, there's been a lot around the internet going on around this week about like people with too much money and what they can do with it. I don't really want to, dive into those waters. That was bad. I apologize.
No, that was actually really good. That was funny.
Thank you. Look, Mike, as we are recording this, it is late, but it is still technically June 23rd, which means we're exactly 2 months away from Ahsoka arriving on Disney+. Ahsoka arrives August 23rd. We got that announcement, again, 2+ weeks ago.
Yes, indeed.
Have you watched any of Star Wars Rebels yet?
I've seen like an episode of it.
I think I think I once sent you a list the Clone War the Clone Wars series, like the main episodes to watch.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something like that for Rebels as well, but maybe a little lead in, because I know that they are pulling characters from Rebels into this live action version. So I'm excited, like Sabine Wren and Hera. So be a lot of fun there.
Oh yeah.
On the not so fortunate news side, we learned again 2-ish weeks ago that the movie planned for Community has been postponed due to the writer's strike.
Yeah, what? I also heard that there's potentially going to be an actor's strike happening soon, as well as a writer's strike. So that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, Community movie, I'll believe it happens when it's in theaters, or
when you're watching it.
Yeah, when I'm actually watching it. I don't think it's gonna be in theaters. It'll be streaming somewhere.
Peacock, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I heard one of the other podcasts I listened to, and I think might have been Hollywood Babylon, because I know Kevin Smith was out, picketing and whatnot. But they said you can do things without writers, or completed projects that or you can even do things without some actors. Is like the one that really need to step up is the Directors Guild, because as the director, you can't do anything without a director. So it's like, oh, okay, good point, I guess.
I feel like they could just set a camera up.
I think the one, like not one downside, but one of the regrettable side effects of these writer strikes is that we just get more crap reality TV.
Yep.
I could do without that.
And there's plenty of that. I mean, I don't watch any of it, but I see clips all the time.
Speaking of things that you see, did you ever watch Squid Game?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Season 2's coming, Mike.
I know. They got new cast, or some new people, some new, some olds.
I feel like they'd have to because they killed off about everybody else in the show.
Yeah. Maybe they come back as ghosts, though.
I don't think it's that kind of show.
I mean, come on. Would it surprise you at all?
Not the least.
If Squid Games 2, everybody's back, but if they died in the first season, they were just simply ghosts.
What was I watching? Oh, crap. Oh, okay. So since the last time we got together, I watched Avatar: The Way of Water. And like they brought back Sigourney Weaver, not necessarily her character, but like the daughter, and they brought back I'm gonna get his name wrong because I don't know it. The bad guy, like the bad general.
Yeah.
And they brought him back, and he's like a blue cat now, and it's like it's almost as bad as a comic book. Nobody stays dead anymore. Nope. So did you ever watch the first Avatar?
No.
Okay.
It never interested me at all.
Right. I was always curious just by, like, okay, well, let's see what does the world look like that James Cameron wanted to create. And to that extent, he created a beautiful world. Like Pandora is beautiful. My one regret, as you know, a few months ago, the family was down in Disney World and we went to Animal Kingdom, but we completely forgot. Like we were so focused on, oh, there's the tree of life, and oh, let's go on the safari and see the real animals and stuff. Like we never made that hard left to go to Pandora.
Oh,
where I heard that one of the best roller coasters is over in that Pandora. So I never saw the islands of Avalon or whatever the hell they're called. The floating islands. Never saw any of that, which I think the kids would have really got a kick out of. Completely, always kicking myself. So yeah. Garrett's always already can we go back? I'm like, not till your brothers don't need naps.
Right. Yeah, true.
Because that killed the momentum. All right, so with that, let's move on. We have some delays in Disney and Marvel. Don't know if you were aware of that.
Yes, of course. Well, actually, we have delays, but one movie moved up.
Tell me more.
Deadpool 3 is going to be coming out 6 months earlier now. Don't know if that's a good thing or not.
What's your take on this Deadpool 3 situation? Under the umbrella of Disney.
I don't know much about the situation. As far as
do you think that they're going to modify the tone at all?
Apparently, it's still going to be rated R.
Okay.
Yeah, that's last I heard on it was still going to be rated R. Yeah, I mean, obviously we know, good old Hubert Jackman is in there, and a lot of the other cast from the first and second Deadpool, except for Zazie Beetz. She's
Domino's not coming back.
She tweeted something out saying that she's not in it.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah,
you know what? Here's the thing. I think they can still keep that separation by having it under the 20th Century Fox imprint. But what I would really like for them to do is to bring back that 20th Century Fox imprint and fanfare ahead of the Star Wars movies.
Sure. Yeah. I think
it doesn't affect the movies per se, but it's just I grew up on that. Dun, 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 dun. And then it goes, screen goes black. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And then the Star Wars fanfare.
Yes.
I hope everybody appreciated what I just did for them.
I'm sure they did. I know for Deadpool 3, I'm trying to think. Oh, like I said, it's coming out 6 months earlier now. But I think that's because everything else got pushed, and they had to fill in a slot. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried that it's not going to be as good as it could be. But they go, well, we have this slot, and we got to put something in there. So Deadpool 3, it's already written. We'll film it, and we'll just throw it in there.
Yeah,
that's what I'm worried about.
So Deadpool 3 moves up to May 3rd of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
The Kang Dynasty delayed to I'm apparently doing this in absolute reverse order. I'll try not to do it. All right, let's start at the beginning. Captain America Brave New World instead of New World Order has been pushed from May 3rd to July 24th, 2024. Thunderbolts from July to December 20th of 2024. Fantastic Four reboot moves from February to May of 2025. Blade, which I heard that like this one might have actually been technically suspended again, but is pushed back to February 14th, 2025. And then the Avengers movies, Avengers King Dynasty, delayed to May 1st of 2026, and Secret Wars now slated for May 7th of 2027. Now, one thing we didn't talk about since we've been off is the name change of Captain America's movie.
That happened out of the blue too. Like there was no, all of a sudden it was just like you just read in an article like Captain America, Brave New World, blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Do you think that has to do with Vince McMahon?
How, you know what? I actually, that's kind of funny, but
Or I guess maybe like the Endeavor ownership group now that owns WWE.
It honestly wouldn't surprise me if
it wouldn't. It'd be like
you
a
had
petty
people out there that, yeah.
Now, do you remember reading Brave New World in high school?
No, it sounds familiar though.
It's by Aldous Huxley.
That name also sounds familiar.
And was written in 1931, published in 1932.
Those years sound familiar.
Like those are definitely words I've heard, or years I've heard of. And it is mainly about a futuristic society called the World State that revolves around science and efficiency. In this society, emotions and individuality are conditioned out of children at a young age, and there are no lasting relationships because everyone belongs to everyone else.
None of that sounded familiar to me.
No,
I'm looking at images, and it's. Did we have to read it? Was everybody like? Was it a class that everybody had to read?
Yeah, we read it in school.
Okay.
Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out. Oh, where are you, you bitch?
Like Brave New World sounds familiar. Like, everything except for the plot of it sounded familiar to me.
I'm trying to figure like where's the condensed version of the plot, and I don't. Like I said, I remember reading it. In fact, I may actually have still a copy of it, like because they just gave us books, and I don't know if we had to return them. Or maybe we were supposed to, and I never did.
They're probably waiting on you.
Oh no, I'm gonna have such a late fee at the public school. But anyway, yeah, Brave New World. Now go with that, I suppose.
Yes.
I don't really have a whole lot to say about this next topic, but apparently in the Batman Part 2, they're looking at a couple different actors who could play Harvey Dent / Two-Face, and those actors being Joel Edgerton, who you highlighted in our last episode because he was in the movie Warrior.
Yes.
And the other one that they're kicking around is Josh Hartnett, who I don't feel like has done a whole lot the last few years.
In the last couple of decades, he hasn't done much.
That's fair. But, although I heard he was in a show like a Victorian era show.
Probably, yeah.
Penny something.
Pennyworth.
Penny, no.
Penny Dreadful.
Penny I don't think that. I don't think.
Penny.
Wait, stop. Penny Dreadful. You're right. Did you guess that?
Yes, I guessed it.
Okay. I mean, he's been a couple things, just not anything that I've heard of.
Yeah.
So good for you guys. May one of you get the job, I suppose.
I also heard that they're thinking about doing Clayface as well, which
see, you can't like constantly say, "Oh, the thing that makes Batman the best is he's got such the great rogues gallery," and then have the same three villains all the time.
Exactly.
We've seen Joker in every iteration.
Yep.
We've seen Riddler now in two.
And we're talking live action.
Right.
Yeah.
You've seen Two-Face in 2.
Mm-hmm.
You've
Penguin.
seen Penguin.
In 2 of them. Penguin was in the Batman. It was Colin Farrell, remember?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I guess I did because he didn't play that huge of a role yet. Like he hadn't become the Penguin that we know of. But you're right, the Penguin. Mm-hmm. But like Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, we've only seen once. Right. Ra's al Ghul, we've seen once. But like, yeah, like get something that's gonna no pun intended, but like break the mold, like a
Yeah.
Clayface. Clayface because you have that mystery factor of like he could be anybody.
Right.
So, it'd be interesting. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Now, as we get into things that are much more recent in news, earlier this week we got a trailer. And I heard it was leaked, Mike, but I don't know if I necessarily believe that. But we got a trailer for Kraven the Hunter. ATJ Aaron Taylor Johnson is Kraven.
Yeah, we were talking about this before the podcast started, and first of all, I think his abs are photoshopped there.
I think that whole image is photoshopped.
Yeah.
But it was the best picture that I can find. Also, for those of you who are watching, I'm not going to play the trailer. We can't play the trailer. We'll be kicked off of YouTube. This is just the best picture that I could find.
Also, I don't think in the trailer he ever wears that.
He did acquire it at the end.
He had something similar to it, because the whole thing with Kraven is he has the huge lion's mane,
right?
Coat or whatever, and it has something similar. It was very subdued, and it wasn't. I'd watch it again, but it wasn't like that. I liked the trailer, but I was telling you, I think the movie's gonna flop, just because it's Sony, and besides Spider-Verse movies, they can't seem to make a good one. Also, people aren't really going to give it a fair shake regardless. This is going to be one that's going to get review bombed before people even see it, of course.
Think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like, how can it possibly? It doesn't have. They did not race or gender swap the lead, the main character. What could they possibly find wrong with it?
Yeah. What's funny is there articles I was reading was talking about how what's his name? The guy who was in Gladiator.
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe seemed more like Kraven than Aaron Taylor Johnson did. He was bigger and more intense and stuff like that. Look, I was telling you, Aaron Taylor Johnson, his intensity is really good. I buy that, but he's about 50 to 75 to maybe 100 pounds too light.
Interesting.
If you're looking at Kraven from either the comics or from the cartoon, which mine's based on the cartoons. I haven't read a Kraven comic.
I did once. I wrote Whoa, definitely not trying to take credit for anything. I read the Kraven's Last Hunt or something like that.
I want to read that. Yeah.
I think I read it at the time on the digital Marvel app or something like that. So I can't. Unfortunately, I'm not too helpful to you right now.
Oh no, that's quite all right. I'm sure I could pick it up at Heroic Adventures or Twilight Comics or Amazon, whoever knows, wherever.
Wow, you're just so damn salty these days.
I would never buy anything off of Amazon. Not well. Let me take that back. I buy plenty of stuff off of Amazon. I would not buy a comic book off of Amazon.
Thank you.
That one I got two places to go.
Support local comic book shops.
What if though? Hold on. What if Twilight Comics has a page on Amazon? So instead of having to drive down there, they ship stuff off. What if that were the case? Then buying off of Amazon's okay, correct?
Hold on, I'm looking right now.
Trust me, they don't.
Are you sure?
That's far too much technology.
They have eBay, and that you can get stuff in your pull list, and they'll mail it to you. All right, so I'm on Amazon. I did a Google search for Twilight comic, not Google, an Amazon search for Twilight.
Yeah.
And the first one is the first result is Twilight Fascination Volume 1. It's Twilight manga. And then it's Twilight Book 3, which is from 1991. I don't even know. That looks weird. Then it's Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess Volume 6. Then it's Twilight Zone Volume 1, Twilight Zone Shadow and Substance, etc., etc. So I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to say it.
Mm-hmm.
So, So I'm eager for. I was intrigued, dare I say, impressed that when the Kraven the Hunter trailer came out, it was red band.
Oh yeah,
it was Red with blood.
Mhm. Yeah, he gets a little violent.
A little bit. I mean, you probably have to if you're going to be a hunter.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be over there like, Mr. Lion, will you come over here? I've got some marshmallows.
Well, and that's what's funny about it. That is, you don't. Yes, he's a hunter. I think this is how they're going to play it. He's a hunter, but he hunts people. He hunts bad guys.
Yeah,
because he didn't shoot the lion. And Craven in the comic books or I must do comic books or definitely the cartoon definitely would have shot that lion. Now maybe it's because he was a kid, then he was scared or whatever. But I have a feeling in the movie he's not going to hunt animals.
Look, this is a different take. So I'm not necessarily like pooping on the idea or anything like that. I don't poop. I need to get that looked at. I've heard, but but like in the world where we have like not humanized, or maybe humanized is the right word, but like villains.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I mean, like Craven is a man, but he's also a very violent man.
Yes,
and he's one of Spider-Man's most dangerous foes. So I don't know. And again, I think my biggest issue with these Sony live action Spider-Man movies is like, where are they going?
I was just gonna mention that because
is Aaron Taylor Johnson ever gonna face off with Tom Holland?
No,
I don't think so. It's not gonna happen, man.
And I don't even think that, because there was rumors of they could bring back Andrew Garfield and have that, but I don't see that happening either.
I would almost say like you'd almost have to do it like the comic. You would need someone older, between Aaron Taylor Johnson and Russell Crowe's age. Like you would need somebody who's in their 40s.
Yeah.
And it'd have to be Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
You'd have to have like two vets who've been doing it on opposite sides of the world for 20 something years. And I mean, like that would be intriguing. Like, look, I'm very confident people would show out for another Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, maybe.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe it obviously anything like that. It depends on obviously the movie and the plot and
sure.
Who's doing it. I was looking up. Andrew Garfield is not as young as we think he might be.
I think he's closer to our age.
Yeah, he's 39, so I think he could do it too.
Well, but I'm not disagreeing, but I do think that across the board, like, well, maybe not across the board. There's still Spider-Man 3, but like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was a bit more beloved than Andrew Garfield. Don't get me wrong. I really liked Andrew Garfield as like his Spider-Man movies. Take the overstuffed, Amazing Spider-Man 2 that had way more in it than it needed. Like you thin some of that out, and I think it's a really good movie. But instead, it was like we got Jamie Foxx and we got
the
pick a villain.
We got the basement of villain origins.
Yeah. Now I mentioned that Craven, the Red Band trailers, and there was blood. You know what else there had a lot of blood in, Mike? Watch this one this past week. Renfield.
I started watching it and then I completely forgot about it.
I really didn't know what to expect other than like those black and white scenes at the beginning when they were explaining like Renfield's history with Dracula. That looked like straight out of the Bela Lugosi, black and white old Universal monster movies. And then of course they evolved, and I can't remember if I said it to you or said it to best friend of the show, Josh, but there was a point in that movie when Nick Cage went full Nick Cage, and I was like, I'm here for it. Like it was phenomenal. A lot of fun, laughs, at unexpected times. Like, it was bloody and violent, but in a way that like Deadpool.
Okay.
And I'm not necessarily like equating it to Deadpool, but in that similar tone where it's bloody and violent, but also kind of funny.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of love story in there. So you heard it here first on Nerds United, folks. Renfield equal Deadpool.
Sure. I'll have to finish it. Like I said, I started watching it and then I moved on to other stuff and kind of not lost interest, but forgot about it. So what else we got?
I think the last thing, at least on my list, Mike, you tell me if there's something you want to talk about. But the last thing that I had to talk about is I saw this little gem earlier today, and it's hard to think we're at the end of June already, which means we're only a handful of weeks away from San Diego Comic-Con. But if you own a ticket or a wristband or however it works there for San Diego Comic-Con, you might go there thinking, this is going to be a little underwhelming. And this is why. Marvel, Netflix, Sony, HBO, and Universal all are skipping San Diego Comic-Con. This is from a report from Variety. And now they say, the headline says, as Fest faces another existential threat. Realistically, I mean, what's left? DC?
And I think DC's they do their own thing now. Or at least they used to. Did they do it this year? The
Fandom,
World of DC or whatever it is. Fandom, yeah.
I mean, they were doing that in the pandemic. I don't know if they're still.
Yeah,
but it's like
I don't know.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say I don't know if Comic-Con's going to be as big as it has in the past. Even if like. I would say even if they were going there, but it's more of like, look, DC's big enough to do their own thing. They're big enough to put their own convention on. Marvel's big enough to put their own convention on, or Disney, D23. They don't have to go to Comic-Con anymore.
And I think that's what it, but in its heyday, and I really do think that Comic-Con has peaked.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so I also think that it evolved very quickly from its origins. Like it wasn't that many years ago. I mean, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, but it wasn't that many years ago where it was like comic books. It was largely populated by comics, creators, vendors, and comic publishers. So like Marvel would be there, or DC would be there, but they'd be showcasing, hey, this is what's coming out in the next year, comic book wise. They could be getting you excited about that. Now, I mean, it took such a drastic leap, I think. And again, I say this as someone who's never been. I know you used to go regularly, of course,
all the time. Yeah.
But like there was always and I really think that it was maybe when like Avengers, like the first Avengers was coming out. That was like when it peaked, like the Hall H stuff, and like I don't want to stand all day. If I was going to San Diego, like I don't want to stand all day in the heat to maybe get a seat inside Hall H. Like it'd be cool, but I kind of look at it going to Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, like going to like Disney World. Like I want to move. I want to be, I want to be up doing things, walking around. Like when we went to Disney World a couple months back, we tried to find short lines for rides, which was, of course, sometimes unavoidable. But, like to see more things, like I don't want to wait all day for one event when I could be, even if it's quote unquote lesser things, but just to go around, like see some of the independent, comic publishers, things like that. Some of the ones outside of the big two. I don't know. I think San Diego Comic-Con has peaked. And I don't know, maybe some of these bigger studios will come back one day, but that's a big hit, I feel like, to that, I don't know, industry or to that event, to have so many studios be like, we don't really need to anymore.
Yeah, it should be pointed out too that according to the article, the reason that there are not going to be there isn't necessarily because they can go do their own thing. That was just I'd mentioned that, but it's because of the writer's strike. They're kind of like in solidarity with the writer's strike, and they even said with the potentially upcoming actor strike, or is it? I think it was actor direction, but I think it was actor strike. So
let's find out.
Yeah. Kind of the like going there. It used to be like I said, I went there all the time. You would go there like you would stand in long line to get into Hall H, but that's because there would be a new trailer, and that trailer wouldn't get debuted for another couple months online.
Right.
But now it gets leaked. A lot of times it gets leaked pretty immediately online. So.
Yeah, there's just no, as they say, the bloom is off the rose.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't have anything else, Mike. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
That is it.
I mean, we thought this was going to be a quote unquote quick episode, and it still went an hour and change. But
that's right. Yeah.
You have house guests. Are they still awake?
Of course. Yeah. This one is the night owl one.
It'd be like back in the day when we were kids. I don't know how many times you went and stayed the night at a friend's house. Probably quite a bit, but it was always like 11 o'clock's nothing to us.
Oh yeah, yeah.
1, 2, sometimes 3 in the morning type of thing. I remember in high school when I go crash at a friend's house, I'd be like, we're sitting up there watching like Jerry Springer, and like the almost uncensored Jerry Springer stuff that was on after midnight. So
yes, yeah.
Back in the day when we got kicked off the streets for breaking curfew.
Ooh.
Do you ever get pulled over for breaking curfew when you're walking?
No. One, I wasn't walking around that much. I would have been driving, and
before you had a license, Mike. Come on, man.
Before I had a license, I wasn't. I wouldn't be walking around late because what was curfew like 11?
In New Baden, it was like 9, I think, at one point in the summer.
Yeah.
Well, hang on the line because I've got a fun after the show story to tell you.
All right.
And for everybody else out there, hey, if you're joining us on YouTube, make sure that you hit that like, hit that subscribe button because I feel like this is fun and we could probably do more of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll probably have to coordinate things and not say, hey, Mike, do you want to put this on YouTube like 30 seconds before we're kind of starting, which leaves me scrambling to find all the pictures and images that you enjoyed. But yeah, well, we'll do it. We'll have some fun. And Mike couldn't do the show without you. Not this version of the show. I mean,
you could easily do the show without me.
No, I can talk with creators without you, but I can't do this version of the show without you.
You could talk about yourself, though.
I mean, you're just saying that because I almost do anyway.
But you're good at it, so
your words.
Yeah,
your words.
Yeah.
But I enjoy you being here. I missed you these last few weeks, so it's good to look at your handsome face.
Just
you smack that microphone a lot.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You know what? I realized
I still have a windscreen. I'm going to be in your neighborhood this week. I'm going to stop by and bring you a windscreen to cover that.
If I'm not there, put it in the mailbox.
I will. People will be very confused.
No, not really.
What is this foam black condom doing in here?
No, I don't. Oh, actually, you know what? I don't think you can put stuff in mailboxes.
Oh.
Or, I don't know. Leave it at the steps or something. We'll figure it out. Who cares?
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to be back here on YouTube. We haven't done a YouTube show in a long time. So, and of course, we still have the audio version for all of you who don't have YouTube on your phones. Like, who does that? Anyway, great to have you here. Great for Mike to be here. I'm Greg Mahochko. He is the co-host of the year, Mike Luther. This is Nerds United, a Jittery Monkey podcast, where we remind you each and every week that different show. We remind you each and every week to be kind
and stay frosty.
Oh, I see that you stole that from the other show.
Also, rewind.
Fair.
This is a production of the Jittery Monkey Podcast Network. For more jittery shenanigans, go to jitterymonkey.com.